Today, we're diving into the prologue of a really deep and, let's be honest, pretty wild philosophical drama called The Uncanny Journey of the Jester. And this isn't just setting up a story, it's laying the groundwork for a high-stakes bet that's going to challenge the very idea of what civilization is. Right out of the gate, with these words, this unsettling figure, the Jester, just appears in the court of this nameless kingdom. And get this, he was not invited. He says he was literally drawn there by the smell of decay, a rut that's hidden under all the power and ceremony. This sets the stage for a showdown that's as poetic as it is philosophical, and really, that's what this whole story hinges on. You have this society that's so incredibly confident in its own performance of order, and it's about to be forced to look itself in the mirror. And the Jester? Well, he's the one holding it up. All right, so to really get the Jester's impact, we first have to understand the world he's just walked into. This kingdom is defined by its absolute self-certainty. But, as we're about to see, that certainty is built on a very, very fragile foundation. This quote from the Lord Chamberlain it absolutely nails the court's entire worldview. He's the keeper of order, and for him, ritual isn't just tradition, no, it's the only thing holding back total chaos. The only thing that separates them from the void. Their whole stability comes from this unspoken agreement to perform their roles perfectly and, crucially, to leave certain uncomfortable truths unnamed. And here we see their central flaw, their fatal mistake. They've confused the performance of stability for the real thing. They go through the motions of grief, they talk about virtue, they act sane, and they think that's enough to have made their world solid. But, of course, the Jester shows up smelling the rot underneath it all. And this brings us to the philosophical engine that drives this entire story. This isn't just about a Jester annoying a king. No, this is a full-blown battle of ideas. Okay, now this might sound a little complex, but hang with me, the idea is actually pretty straightforward. The philosopher Fichte basically argued that we figure out who we are, ourself, by creating an other, a not-self. To know that you're orderly, you have to define what chaos looks like. To see yourself as virtuous, you have to point to what sin is. Well, this kingdom has built its entire identity, itself, in exactly this way. So the breakdown is pretty simple. On one side, you've got the kingdom, the self. It defines itself by order, certainty, and all the ugly things it agrees to leave unnamed. And then, the Jester arrives. He is the living, breathing embodiment of the not-self. He is negation. He is disruption. And most importantly, he's the one who names the very things the kingdom has sworn to ignore. So you see, the Jester isn't just some random troublemaker. In this philosophical setup, he's an essential piece of the puzzle, an instrument of truth. He's the shadow that the kingdom actually needs in order to see its own shape. He's the grotesque reflection they've been trying so hard to avoid. And now, he's standing right in the middle of their court. And the Jester doesn't waste a single second. He immediately goes after the pillars of this society, the very people who are in charge of upholding this ceremonial reality. And here are his targets. Each one represents a very specific kind of self-deception. You've got the king, who's only certain because he refuses to look. The Lord Chamberlain, who mistakes the muscle memory of ritual for actual understanding. Then there's the High Minister, who thinks that claiming to be civilized is the same as being virtuous. And finally, the Royal Philosopher, who believes that just by naming and defining the darkness, he's somehow tamed it. This is exactly how he operates. He confronts the Lord Chamberlain not by attacking the ritual itself, but by naming what it really is, a performance. It's not about grief at all. It's a public shield against their own fear. The Jester's laughter is the force that suddenly makes them all see the wall for what it is. So you gotta understand, his method is subversion, not assault. He's not coming in with a sword to tear the kingdom down. He simply walks along their beautiful tapestries of order and virtue and just points. He points at the seams, the places where the threads are coming loose, revealing that rot underneath. This whole confrontation culminates in a challenge, a formal wager with the king himself. The Jester proposes a high-stakes test, a bet for the kingdom's very soul. And the structure he proposes is so simple and powerful. It all comes down to the number 3. 3 nights, 3 dances, 3 chances for this kingdom to see what it really is. And each dance has a very specific target. First, he's going to go to the churchyard and mock their public, performative grief. Second, he'll head to the Gilded Hall, where he'll mirror the greed of the elite until it becomes monstrously absurd. And for the finale, he'll dance in their shrine of commerce to confront the emptiness that people try so hard to fill with stuff. And the stakes? They couldn't be higher. If nobody's conscience is stirred, the jester just leaves, exposed as a fraud. But if just one person sees the truth in his mirror, if even one tiny crack appears on the kingdom's perfect face, it proves the jester's entire point, that their so-called civilization is just a fragile performance, a joke that's missing its punchline. So let's zoom out for a second. What does all this mean for the jester's story as a whole? Because this is definitely not your typical hero's journey. You know how a typical hero's journey is an ascent, right? Climbing towards power or glory or some great victory. Well, the jester's journey is the complete opposite. It's an inverted journey, a descent downward through all the world's failures, all its masks, all its ceremonies. The story is suggesting that the only way to find something truly real is to strip away every single mask, one by one. And all of his symbols totally reflect this. His motley costume, it isn't for a party. It's meant to refract truth, like a prism splitting white light into all of its hidden colors. His bells ring at all the awkward, wrong moments, totally disrupting the ceremony, until eventually they're going to ring with the finality of a judge's gavel. Even his scepter is this doubled thing. It looks ridiculous, but underneath it's ancient and terrible. But here is the final, brilliant twist that gets set up right in the prologue. The jester himself knows that his mirror is impartial. It just reflects whatever is standing in front of it. And he realizes that, eventually, after he's shown the kingdom its own face, he's going to have to stand in front of that very same mirror and confront his own hidden truths. And that's the question that just leaves us hanging, isn't it? The jester is this not self-made flesh, the great revealer of inconvenient truths for everyone else. But what is he underneath his own mask? And what happens when the ultimate critic is finally forced to criticize himself? Well, that is the uncanny journey that's about to begin.